The following program contains graphic descriptions of courage. If you are addicted to mediocrity, or if your spine is made of jello, this show might not be right for you. Check with your chiropractor.
Proclaiming the truth in the highways and byways of the world. Fighting for justice in the dark alleys of politics. Raising the voice of resistance to a fevered pitch. The host who has no equal. He uses sweet and low. Randall Terry.
Thank you. Welcome, ladies. They're new punchlines, baby. Oh, thank you. You're very kind. I love you. I love you. I love you. We are going to have a great show today. You know, sometimes it's easy to have a great show because very powerful people who are really stupid sometimes give you so much material. For example, Iran. Yes, they're going to try and run the blockade at the Gaza Strip. And Fidel Castro calls the Jews Nazis. That's like calling black people honkies. Hello, Fidel, wake up. And Rasmussen does a poll and shows us once again who the very stupid Americans are. Today's program brought to you by Fidel Castro, the poster child of despots and tyrants, and by the Love Boat. Yes, we're gonna try and run the blockade too. Just show us the love, baby. I'll be right back after a quick word from my friend, Scurvy, the pirate. Ahoy, matey. You might know that the Iranians are about to try and run a blockade in Gaza. I've run a few blockades myself over the years, and I can tell you it's dangerous business. You're going to want to be watching that one on your television. Speaking of running blockades, did the president run a mental blockade when he said that this disaster was like 9/11? Maybe he had manatee mud for breakfast that day, if you know what I'm talking about. President, wake up and smell the crude. Welcome to the program, friend. It is I, your servant, Randall, the philosophical arms dealer for the right-hand side of your brain. Remember this. Sometimes you have to stand alone. Look at the prophets in the Bible, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Malachi. They stood alone and proclaimed the truth. And sometimes it was dangerous. Remember, there's no patron saint of caution. Let's go to today's news. Fidel Castro has compared the Jews to the Nazis. The Nazis? Fidel, what are you smoking? My friend Winston says, keep smoking it. The man has been a shipwreck of a soul since the day that he invaded Cuba. But boy, Fidel, on to other news. Iran, they're sending a boat. Yesterday, they had sent a boat to try and run the blockade at the Gaza Strip. The Jews are saying, look, we're not going to let Gaza become a port for Iranian terrorist activities. The news behind the news. Iran is developing a nuclear weapon right now. And since the PLO took hostages at the Munich Games in 1972, they have been the #1 terrorist organization in the world, and they have helped focus the attention of the world on the demands of Palestinians and on how much they hate the Jews since the early 70s. This is just a part of a long, long series of events that are designed to take attention away from some Muslim terrorist group and to put them on the demands and the hardships of the Palestinian people. Some of those hardships are very real, by the way, and not to be minimized. But here's the situation. Iran supports Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist group. So if I was the Iranian leadership, this is what I would do. I'd say we're going to send the first ship, and there won't be so much as a pocket knife on the boat. Let the Jews take it and let them search every single container on the ship to find nothing. Because what Iran needs and what the Muslim world wants is to have the moral high ground to say, look, we're trying to send aid to suffering people. And to turn public opinion worldwide against Netanyahu and against the Jews so that ultimately they crack and they lift the blockade. That's what they are probably going to try and do. One news report said that as of right now, there are 10 boats that intend to try and run the blockade between now and October. And Iran is the big winner in this. They get to look like they're noble because they're helping their Palestinian brothers, and they're not the center of attention because of their nuclear weapons program. And of course, the national and the international media, like little puppy dogs, they're licking it up. They're eating it up and sending it on to us. People, don't let them trick you. Iran is a nuisance to the world, and if they do get a nuclear weapon and they use it, life as we know it on this planet will never be the same again. All right, let's go to our friends at Rasmussen. I love these guys. They give us so much information about the people that really are the victims of public education, the victims of socialist thinking, the victims of the television. 52% of Americans think that a tax increase would hurt the economy. That's not so bad, but here's what's really crazy. 22% think that a tax increase would be good for the economy. How about this one? 55% say tax cuts would help the economy. 23% think that a tax cut would hurt the economy. Can I just ask, please, who are you people? Who are you? Now, I admit that this debt that we have racked up, it's got to be paid for. Sooner or later, someone is going to have to pay the bill. It's either going to be me and you, or it's going to be our children and our grandchildren. And when we finally start paying the bill on all this borrowed money, all right, it's going to hurt the economy because you're going to have to tighten your belt and you're not going to be able to buy that new car. Or you're not going to be able to buy that pool that you want. It's going to cause hardship. But that's not what they're talking about. They really believe that more taxes helps them. That 22%, that 23%, they want to get their hand into your pocket. This is about the redistribution of wealth. Right now, the American paradigm of tax collection and redistribution is inherently socialist. I get weary of people saying, we must not become a socialist nation. We are a socialist nation. We're just talking about degrees. Is it socialism on the half shell? Socialism light? Or is it big, mean, big brother communism? Either way, you're still working for someone else for their benefit against your will. Welcome to the socialist plantation. Obama, he's the skipper. Oh, speaking of Obama, he made some comments that he's going to regret for a little while, comparing the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico to the 9/11 attacks. And I want to actually read this exactly right. Quote, in the same way that our view of our vulnerabilities and our foreign policy was shaped profoundly by 9/11, I think this disaster is going to shape how we think about the environment and energy for many years to come. Turning now to myself for commentary, let's analyze what he said. Obama, you are a despicable human being for comparing a terrorist attack where 3,000 people lost their lives to an oil spill. No, I get it. This is hysterical. This is Obama trying to get himself out of the doghouse and get people thinking about ducks in oil. Ducks in oil, 11 men died on that oil rig. 3,000 Americans died because of terrorism. To compare an accident with a deliberate act of murder is despicable. No, it's not despicable. It's a joke. It's a way for him to be like the Iranians. You see, no one's thinking about the Iranians, and Obama's funny. I'll be right back.
Randall and I made a trip to Mars as part of a secret project. Okay, I lied. It was actually to the moon with Neil Armstrong.
And
Jesus said,
Who is greatest among you shall be your servant. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted.
Welcome back to the program, friend. Part of what we do here in Washington, D.C. is we encourage the righteous and we torment the wicked. And we mock that which deserves to be mocked. Remember, G.K. Chesterton said, that which is ridiculous deserves to be ridiculed. And as you may know, Elena Kagan, nominee for the Supreme Court, said that we have the 14th Amendment so that we can kill our offspring. This is what we had to say about that in front of the Senate building.
Are you all being oppressed by fetuses? Do you need to be set free? Free to do whatever you please.
You might have thought that the 14th Amendment had to do with ending slavery. Not so. It's so that the due process clause can be used so that you can kill your offspring.
Are you being enslaved by a child?
You don't want to end up like this woman and chained to a baby? No, you want to be able to kill your child.
Yeah.
That's why we have the 14th Amendment, to break the back of that slave power.
I need to pursue
fetal
my career.
plantation.
Are you a victim to a fetus?
We're here to support Elena Kagan for the Supreme Court. She's opened our eyes. The 14th Amendment is so that we can kill our babies.
You have the right to be free, and don't let any of your offspring keep you down.
Do you want to end up like this woman?
No!
She has halitosis as well.
Freedom from fetuses!
I'm oppressed by these fetuses. They take away all my free time.
What do you want from Kagan?
I want her to free me from this oppression.
Enforce the 14th Amendment.
We need to make sure Elena Kagan becomes the next justice, because she has the courage to invoke the 14th Amendment so we can be free from the oppressive fetuses that are plaguing our nation.
That's right.
You don't want a fetus state.
That's right.
They ruin our lives. I don't want to open mail for the senator the rest of my life. I have a career to worry about, and these fetuses are oppressive. We need Elena Kagan to invoke the 14th.
I don't have to be enslaved by fetus.
If you work for a Republican senator, ask him to grow a backbone, or he can borrow mine.
Because I, at one time, was enslaved by a fetus. You can be free.
And the person who is here to ensure that you become free from the plantation of fetuses, Elena Kagan. And she plays some mean softball, if you know what I'm talking about.
Thank you, Democrats, and especially Republicans, because without you, this would not be possible.
And sign up for our softball team, the Filibusters.
Yes, we said all that and more. Part of social revolution is agitation, agitation, agitation. And those skits, as offensive as they are to some people, make a very clear point. Now, a call to battle. I want you to call up your U.S. Senator at 202-224-3121 and say to both of your U.S. Senators, do not vote to confirm Kagan. Kagan is the Manchurian justice. Kagan is an ardent supporter of child killing, of homosexual marriage, of heaven knows what else other left-wing agenda. And the Republicans are always saying, oh, we support family values. And the Republicans are trying to seduce the Tea Party vote. Hold their feet to the fire. Call them 202-224-3121 and tell them, filibuster Kagan. I'll be right back.
If we are together, nothing is impossible. If we are divided, all will fail. Sir Winston Churchill.
Welcome back to the program, friend. We will be talking more about Islam in the coming days, but I wanted to take a break and talk to you about ethics, the hierarchy of ethics. First of all, what is of more value, money or human life? If somebody said, here, I'll give you $100,000 for your child, would you do it? Or $1 million? I know if it's a rebellious teenager, you might consider it. But in reality, human life is at the top of the food chain for value in this planet. Money, way down here. Now let's talk about the ethical hierarchy of evil. What is the worst crime that men commit between men on this planet? It's murder. I mean, if somebody steals your car, that's a big problem. But if you're still alive, you can get your car back, or maybe you'll never get it back. You can get another car, but you're still alive. If somebody burns down your house and you escape, it might be a big heartache, and it might cost you for years to come, but you're still alive. If somebody bears false witness against you, ruins your reputation, you're still alive. But if somebody kills you, then that's it. You can't bring a person back from the dead. Murder is the worst crime that people commit on this planet. And the worst type of murder is to murder an unborn child. And here's why. If you know that someone's trying to murder you, you can run, you can beg for mercy, you can defend yourself, or you can cry out for help. An unborn child can't do any of that. An unborn child cannot cry for help, cannot plead for mercy, cannot defend him or herself, and cannot flee. The child can only die. Now, the reason I'm telling you this, and I'm speaking specifically now to my Tea Party friends, is because there are people in the public square, in the body politic, in the political fights that are upon us right now, that want to say, oh, don't worry about child killing, don't worry about abortion, we need to focus on the economy. It's not true. Human life is more valuable than money. And if you will put money ahead of human life, then your ethical compass is all but destroyed. And by the way, there is a God in heaven. And do you really think he's going to bless efforts that say, all right, look, we've got to get the Senate back, and we've got to get the House of Representatives back, and we've got to get the White House back, and we need to focus on money. I don't care where a candidate stands on killing babies. What I care about is where he stands on illegal immigration and on our tax burden and on the fair tax or on the national sales tax. You really think that God is going to bless that? You think that God himself will bless our country if we continue to send our unborn into landfills and sewers? Friends, in this election cycle, put life first. Be right back.
Contend, O Lord, with those who contend with me. Fight against those who fight against me. Take hold of shield and buckler, and rise for my help. Draw the spear and javelin against my pursuers. Amen.
Hi, friend, I'm Randall Terry. George Washington said, "A slender acquaintance with the world must convince every man that actions, not words, are the true criterion of the attachment of friends." In personal relationships, when you come into a tough time, it's not the words of people around you that really matter, it's the actions. That's how you know who your friends are. Well, it's no different in the political realm. The Republicans say, we're pro-family, we're pro-life, we're your friend. Well, in times like this, when Elena Kagan is coming up for confirmation hearings, what will our friends do? Not what will they say, not what little sound bites do they give, what will they do? And it's not just that they say they're our friends. What's far more offensive is that they say they are the friends of the unborn, that they're the defenders of babies who are in jeopardy of dying. Well, when you've got somebody like Elena Kagan getting ready to take maybe a 25 or 30 or 35-year stint on the Supreme Court. Elena Kagan, who is a diehard supporter of child killing. Elena Kagan, who will do everything in her power to make sure that the abortion mills keep cranking out dead bodies. When you've got someone like her about to be confirmed, what will they do? Not what will they say, what will they do? They need to filibuster her and be friends.